then what happens to Ablikman North? Is there a power play? I think there's, there are more questions to be answered than what we are getting from the EC. And I had opportunity to go through the public elections regulations, 2020, CI 127. And it has no clear provision on how to conduct a rerun. But the only provision has to do with Regulation 42, which talks about the fact that the parliamentary election could only be rerun where two candidates, where there is a tie between two candidates. Apart from this, or save this provision, clearly I didn't see anything. So if you want to go beyond that, that means that there must be a consensus. But to have collected 30 police stations out of 33, I think the EC should not, and under no circumstance, say that they want to rerun the election in 19 police stations. I think it has no basis. Personally, I think it has no basis because the EC must take decisions based on a legal foundation. But with this decision, this directive, so-called directive, it has no basis. And then the MPP has genuine concern. And what I feel they should do is just to invoke the jurisdiction of the High Court. Yes, the jurisdiction of the High Court to, determine whether the EC is being arbitrary as they claim. But for me, I feel sitting behind the scene and looking at what is going on, I think there could be some power play. What may be responsible? Is it because of a change in government? Because some few months away, when the MPP was in power, the EC was eager to finish with the coalition process. Then what changed? Now that there's a new government, are they being remote controlled? Because we know the Electoral Commission is supposed to be an independent institution. But you and I know that when it comes to constitutional bodies, because of some other intermediary controls, including financial regulations and other things, usually they tend to, pander towards the whims and caprices of largely those in government. But by and large, I think the New Patriotic Party has a major concern. And I side with them. And their only remedy lies in invoking the jurisdiction of the High Court. Either to seek judicial review. Because if there's a directive, clearly, because the Electoral Commission is saying that they arrive at this conclusion or this decision based on a meeting with these two political parties. But per the tone of their press release, you would think that the two political parties had consensus. But from what we are getting from the MPP, there wasn't a consensus.
Okay, so your position is that the Electoral Commission is communicating to the public and indeed the generality of the Ghanaian citizenship that there had been some level of a buy-in from both sides. But perhaps the responses of the MPP then tells that that buy-in is not there.
It's clear.
Okay, but if the Electoral Commission, based on the act that establishes it, is determined to be the independent body that organizes elections and says this is the position so far for a frustrated process, irrespective of not having a clear indication by way of whether it's a CI 127 or CI 91, etc., guiding this election, has all the powers to be able to reconvene this, right?
No, but the thing is that, like I said earlier, the High Court has made an order.
Yes.
That's continue with the coalition. If you have issues with an order, what do you do? Because you see, when the court makes an order and you have issues with it, your right doesn't lie in determining what you do about the order. If there's an order from the High Court and you have issues with it, or you disagree with it, or you're unable to, what do you do? You must go back. You get it. But the court has made another. A court of competent jurisdiction has made another. And you believe or you feel because of ABCD we are unable to go ahead with the coalition exercise. Does it lie in your hands to decide what to do when there's a clear directive or order for you to continue with the coalition? I don't see it. You get it. And the EC cannot hide behind their powers as captured in Article 42 to clearly say that they have because they are independent, so clearly they can do whatever they like. That's not the case. being independent doesn't mean you can do whatever you like, because we are all operating within the constitutional framework. And don't forget that any institution that tries to elevate itself above the constitution by the fact that they are trying to elevate themselves, they have to be, brought down just because of the constitutional provisions, or because we have subscribed to the fact that the constitution is supreme and over and above any other institution and individual in the country. So personally, I think the EC is being unfair, and the EC is not being principled. And the EC is trying to take a path which is not good, because the courts, there's a clear directive order from the courts. If you have issues with it, you just go back. But you can't say, because of ABC, I'm unable to implement or carry out the orders of the court. And on what basis are you trying to, derogate or, fail to implement or comply with the orders of the court? On what basis? The EC has not given us. The EC is saying that because some presiding officers were unable to verify 18 of the pink sheets. I mean, that is not...
Did you follow the proceedings in the counting process of this frustrated process for this particular constituency and others as well? Indeed, and as your election comments center, we followed it through, and all of us right here.
Yes.
You could see that even though there had to be corroboration or verification of some of these pink sheets with screenshots even on phone. You question the authenticity of the results. So if the Electoral Commission says, I want to reconvene or organize election in 19 polling stations, that should suffice. Bring peace for everybody.
On what basis? On what basis are you doing that?
Okay.
When the court has given you a clear order that go and collate. If you have issues, I think the best, like I always say,
you should resort.
When you have a problem with an order of the court, you don't decide what to do as an individual. If you know you cannot comply with the order, or even if there's an order of the court which you consider to be a bad order, you have to go back. You can't say because the order is bad, so I will not respect it or obey it. You can't do that. And there are clear judicial authorities on this issue.
Mr. Peru, so we're here, Honorable, because there seems to be a certain concern that has been raised by the Electoral Commission. But the question is, the MPP said this is not grounded in law, and that there seems to be a lack of trust for them on the part of the EC.
So for Mr. Roland, let me use this opportunity to say good morning to my co-panels here this morning.
Good morning.
This particular issue, I am surprised that MPP as a political party today is complaining about matters like this. I have in the past thought that EC, as we are all aware, has a mandate, which is to supervise elections in this country. And the mandate is being given to them as a body by the Constitution of Ghana, the 1992 Constitution. And so whatever currently the Electoral Commission is doing, they are acting within their mandate. There was an election conducted by the Electoral Commission. In that elections, there were issues about collating the results. We all saw it. It is not something that was hidden. The last collation that they tried doing, it was covered live by your own, this very station here, and other TV stations, radio stations across this country. And we saw what happened when some pink sheets were not signed by the presiding officer. And the presiding officer, I'm not a law, but per our elections, I've contested elections in this country. I participated in 2020 elections. I participated in 2024 elections. And I have always been monitoring and been part of elections in this country. The presiding officer acts on behalf of the EC at every polling station. That is the person in charge of the results. And so after counting, if all results are collated at the polling station, after the count, the person that certifies the results there are three people: the agent for those, when I say trade people, be it if there are even several political parties that participated in that election, their representatives, that is the agent. And then the person that represents Electoral Commission at the polling station, it is the presiding officer. In this case, these particular polling stations that are in contention, the pink sheets are not signed by the presiding officer. So how is EC going ahead to declare such a result when not one polling station, when not two polling stations? We are talking about 19 polling stations are in contention. The best for the two parties involved in this is to rerun. And so I am surprised that New Patriotic Party that participated in the elections with same candidate, NDC participated in the elections with same candidate. EC is saying that we are going to rerun these 19 polling stations just because we are unable to ascertain or otherwise the results that are in contention. The person or the persons who represented EC at those 19 polling stations cannot authenticate or otherwise those particular those particular results at those polling stations. And so this is simple. I don't think that EC, as they have the mandate to run elections, need to go to court to seek for another mandate or for court to say that go back and conduct elections on those particular polling stations. Don't forget, the contention is not about a declaration. It is not something that there have been a declaration that this party A is the winner, and somebody says that I won't agree to the declaration. Therefore, the person decides to go to court. This is not what we're talking about.
But is it not important where there are two contesting parties at the table, one disagrees, then accuses the EC of lack of trust and bad faith? At the end of the day, should be listened to.
Who is accusing the EC of lack of trust? Roland, the
MPP.
No, let's be serious in this country.
It's not what the press conference is on.
When I say we in this country, we are a serious country. Ghanaians are a serious people in this country. We were in this country for the past 80 years. When matters about registrations were raised, those matters had to do with rights of persons who qualify to vote. When other political parties, including NDC, then had issues, right, about the way and manner registrations were conducted in this country, and that some group of people would be cut off by participating, given them the opportunity to participate, they were going to be cut off. We were told to keep quiet and allow the EC to do its work. Today, where is that mandate that they were talking about, that the EC at the time had the mandate and, granted by the constitution of this country? And therefore, at the time NDC and other political parties were complaining, I remember, and I have granted interview on some other, sister stations, when we were about to do limited registration. And they said that every district or constituency, persons who were eligible to vote must travel from wherever locations they are to the district capital to vote. And I have a constituency that when you have to come to the district capital, you would have to travel like almost 2 hours to get there. We raise matters like this.
You mean to register? Or
to register. I'm just talking. I'm just citing an example. We were told to keep quiet because EC, it is only the EC that has the right to decide matters concerning elections.
So you are saying based on those principles?
It is not based on those principles. They should stop being hypocritical in this. If yesterday EC had the mandate, the only body in Ghana was EC to conduct elections, and for that matter, matters around election, it was only EC that could determine how elections should be run. Today, they should allow EC to do its work. What they seek to do here, we are talking about for the past 6 months, Ablikuma North, they've been there without a member of parliament. What is their crime? Only 19 polling stations, right, are in contention. Therefore, EC couldn't go ahead to declare those results. It is not that the 19 polling stations, there were no votes. If by the end of the day, the 7th December elections, all those polling stations, all the political parties, recorded 0, EC would have gone ahead to declare the election, the results. In this case, people came out to vote. It means that people decided who they wanted to represent them, but their votes could not be counted simply because there was a disagreement, even to the extent that the person who was in charge of, or those people who were in charge of the polling stations, that is the presiding members, could not authenticate or otherwise the results. And now you are telling me that EC, they don't have the right to go ahead to rerun. I don't know. So if they don't have the right to go ahead to rerun, what are they suggesting? What is the alternative?
You have to resort to the courts.
But they are going to court. They should go to court. They always say that if you have any issue, they should go to court. So for me, I don't have a problem with them going to court. They can go to court, but for the election, they cannot stop the election. We are going to conduct the election. The elections are run at the polling station. We are ready to meet them at the polling stations.
The 19
Why are they running away? The 19 polling station. Your candidate, NDC is not changing a candidate, right? Same campaign message. We are going to go with same campaign message, which is we told the people of this country in 24 December that during the campaign that we're going to reset this country, and I believe that we are going to go to Ablekuman North, the 19 polling station, with same message. So I don't know why they are running away. It's just that, let me tell you what they are trying to do. They don't want to participate, and therefore they must find a reason for their withdrawal. Aside that, nothing. They don't have lost the election.
How do you draw those conclusions? They are adducing reasons not to participate. They are just
trying to create reason to appease their base that the elections, in fact, even those elections, they actually lost Ablekuman North, and they know when they go back, the humiliation will be more than what would have happened in December. Therefore, for them to abstain from the election, they should find a reason. And the reason is that they are going to court. So we wish them where they can continue.
Ebo, do you think this is a good turning point? Because the MPP clearly is a major political party, just got out of government, and so has to be listened to. Where do they have to meet each other halfway? The EC and the MPP.
I think we've come too far to be experiencing this kind of situations in our elections. We've come too far. Not long ago, a whole constituency was not represented in Parliament. I'm talking about SAL situation. And one would have thought that, if you had this kind of situation in the past, you would do things differently to ensure that we don't have repetition of the whole constituency not being represented. It looks as if we are good at making simple things complex. And then, out of that, make sometimes unreasonable arguments to back our cases. Because the issue is very simple. We have 3 people who are supposed to be signing a document for the document to be valid. So if 19 of the pink sheets don't have 3 signatures, it means that those particular are not valid. It's as simple as that. And for me, what is even important is not what NDC is doing or what the MPP is doing. It is the fact that the people of Ablekuman North are not being represented. That is the most important thing. They would have to have a voice in Parliament. And so if simple things that can be done for us to move forward, the political parties, especially the MPP, you see, one thing about MPP is that they are current executives. They've lost touch with the party, and they know they are going to. If they are going to have an election, they are going to lose. So they are capitalizing on some of these things to relaunch.
Do you think that's the case? They said clearly they had been sitting at the table. There was a meeting where they had their director of elections present, and so the position, the public gallery, that has been announced by the Electoral Commission, seemed to be a departure from what they thought was the consensus or the agreements. That's what they claim.
No, but the point is that, as I made at the point earlier, if a document can only be valid if you have 3 signatures on the document. And the documents don't have the signatures. Certainly, they are not valid. They can't be used to determine the results of an election. This is, this is not a complex issue. It should be very simple for all of us. Because the ones that have been accepted are the ones having 3 signatures. So I believe that moving forward, maybe we have to take, we have to have a real look at our electoral laws and processes to be able to eliminate some of these things, so that in future we won't have a situation where political parties would want to capitalize on some of these things to just, you know, to remain relevant. Because, Papa Ro, in my view, I think the Electoral Commission itself has not conducted itself very well in this process.
You think that its competence or incompetence is at the heart of this very issue?
Yes, and this issue of not accepting 19 pink sheets should have been they should have been resolved long time ago, because this is very simple. I mean, this is not rocket science. All the pink sheets that were accepted across the country had 3 signatures. Yes. For me, this is a no-brainer. It shouldn't even be an argument that a political party would want to capitalize on this. Let's have either, you see, in my opinion, either you have the 19 or we'll run the whole show again. I mean, for me, that is my opinion. That if having the 19 is going to create confusion, then why don't you rerun the whole process again? So that not people who also have a representative in Parliament. For me, that is what is important. But as for the politicking and people wanting to take advantage of it to relaunch their campaign and all that, it's up to their party based whether.
Well, that's an opinion you hold.
Yeah, yes, it's an opinion.
And all of you witnessed the election in terms of its coverage and then the proceedings that were carried live on television and then also across the streams. And for you particularly, Lawyer Jantua, you would find that there are concerns that will be raised about the conduct of the Electoral Commission and its assigns in some of these disputed areas. And you'll find that these actions have again been replicated here. And so...
Give me an example.
Okay. So we had, is it Ayawaso Central, where we were covering the election. Ballot boxes were suspiciously said to have been brought in alerts, then drew attention of the media to cover, including election commentators, some of those live, to which at a point in time the suspicion was that there could be imports of external ballot boxes or pink sheets onto other boxes as well. So do you think the competence or not of the Electoral Commission and its assigns has given us this situation of crisis?
This is a complex question. Good morning to my fellow panelists and good morning to Ghanaians.
Good morning. Okay.
Number one, why is it that when we have elections, we cannot have clear